You're listening to Wet Shaving Talk, powered by Sharpologist.com, where we're dedicated to preserving the art and skill of classic shaving. I'm your host, Joe Borrelli, and today is September 23rd, 2024. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. Yes, it is officially the fall season. It's here. Football's in full effect, and so is pumpkin spice, everything. And of course, every day we start seeing some more fall special stuff from the wet shaving world. We start seeing some new scents coming out, return to some classics. We're full-fledged in fall. It's time to enjoy the season. It was one of my personal favorite seasons of the year. I love the fall stuff. I think it's just a change in the ambiance of the world, right? You know, most areas you have leaves changing, you have temperature changing and stuff. Where I live, it's not so much that way, but in a lot of areas it is, and it's just so fun to watch and just to see and just to and really enjoy the sights, smells, and all the stuff to do during the fall season. So we're full-fledged in fall. And we have a lot of stuff on the podcast to go over today, a lot of great content, which I'm really happy to be bringing to you, even though I apologize, I'm a little bit behind this week. Had some problems with Audacity, and which Audacity is the program that I use to record, but we're here full-fledged and still talking wet shaving. So today on the show, one of my personal favorite articles I've seen in a while was on Sharpologist. Best shave soaps under $10. This was a few weeks ago, came out. It's showing some value of of items that we've seen in a world where everything is going up, right? The last few years since the pandemic, we've seen nothing but price increases on everything, but it's still good to know that there are a lot, and there are quite a few shaving soaps still available for under $10 that are good quality and that still will give you a great shave, great scents, and even fun to collect as well. So talking about that article, we'll go over that. We'll talk about some of the brands there and some of my experience with some of them. The Modern Guide to Wet Shaving is now available at Pasteur's Pharmacy. This is something that I am so happy about because I wrote the book. It came out last year. It was available on Amazon, and now it's going to be in the wet shaving mecca brick and mortar store in Manhattan. So if you guys are interested, if you're in the area, it's there. I'm really proud. I'll tell you a little bit about the story as well, and have the link too, because you can actually purchase it online too if you're talking to them. If you're working with Pasteur's online and purchasing stuff online, because they actually do online orders now too. Murray Carter is shutting down his e-commerce site. If you've been listening to this podcast for the last 7 or 8 years, this was one of my first episodes alone. Was with Murray Carter back when it was still Weight Shaving News, and with Andrew was the head guy on the podcast when it was his podcast. We started working together around that time, and this was done. And I'm really hard. It's hard to believe this was done in January of 2016. This is almost 9 years ago when this happened, which is really amazing to see how long ago it actually was, because. Sometimes I look back at older shows and I see how many, to see just how many what I've done, so I don't do it again. You know, I try not to do stuff again, and repeat it. So, yeah, it was really cool to see when I saw the YouTube video come up. Murray Carter, it just brought back a lot of memories, and I wanted to definitely mention it on the podcast this week. All right, so moving along, we have Darkfall. It's a very, very intense fall scent from Declaration Grooming. It's back for ordering. You can get it. Comes out only once a year. It's been around for several years, and very interesting to see if it comes back as the same it does every year. I think the only thing he's done is change the base around. Might have changed the scent around a little bit, but it's really cool. We'll talk a little bit about that scent. One of the first fall scents that I tried way back in the day. And, of course, the fall seasonal special coming up on the last show of October. We'll talk a little bit about that and some archived episodes as well. So, guys, without further ado, let's get on with the show. So, a few weeks ago, the first week of September Manta came out with an article on Sharpologist, which got me to actually stop in my tracks. So, great job on this article. I was really impressed with it, really excited about seeing it. And was happy to see that we're looking at value again in wet shaving, because it's been a long time since anybody has mentioned anything about value in terms of anything. So I remember when back in the day when it started with wet shaving itself, it was more along the lines of, hey, we're going to talk about, hey, how wet shaving can save you money, right? And now these days it's come up very seldom. You don't hear that too much. It's more of a mainstream hobby. A lot of people do it. There are a lot of items now that are actually, more expensive and, collectible and all that stuff that we haven't seen in the past. So recently it's been come to where I haven't really heard anybody saying, hey, wet shaving will save you money, right? But this article does actually show that it can save you money. And it kind of brings back the roots of traditional wet shaving and why a lot of guys switched over to this form of shaving in the past, right? Or why we did or why we wanted to. So to see a bunch of soaps available at $10 is great. I mean, it really is exciting. It's good to see that we're bringing this value back. And, for you guys out there, including myself who write about wet shaving stuff, we should probably get back into the value and say, hey, what's the best value razor? What's the best value soap and all that? Because it's still, it's still out there, right? People still looking to save money with wet shaving or switch over, not just for a better shaver for a hobby, but actually to save a few bucks. So great to see that this article came out, and the content on it was awesome. Like I could not believe how many soaps are out there that are still under $10. Like you have Razorock. If you're not familiar with Razorock, they do actually make very good quality soaps. I have several of them. They're mostly still under $10, a lot of them. And then the aftershaves are actually, you can get a matching aftershave for a great price. I think they're around $15. So Razorock has always been keeping up with the times and keeping the value, right? They keep good sense. They have a pretty wide array of products, and they're basically a value-based company, but they also have some custom stuff as well. But most of the razors you see, hey, they have a CNC machined razor that is, made here, made in Canada or whatever, and it is under $100, right? And that's not many people can say that. May not be the most perfect razor, but it's there. So a lot of their soaps are under $10, and they're a decent sized puck that will last you a while. I love their American Barber, and I love the a couple other scents that they have, but the American Barber is really my favorite. I've had that for a while. It smells just like Brute, and it's really good. Arko is in there. Arko's still making it. Haslinger, Proraso, all these companies are still making soaps under $10, and they're good quality, and they're actually sought after by wet shavers. Just about everybody's tried this if you've been around for a while. So I have a link to the article here in the show notes for you guys to check it out and see. And then see what you can, if you have anything else you want to add, any really good value soaps. Remember, there's a couple of them out there. Williams soap has always been, they used to be under $2 for a while. You can get one for like $2 or $3. Now I think it's about $5. And, there's nothing wrong with Williams. It does work. It doesn't work that well, but for the price, it's actually a really good quality product, right? It is for what it is, right? And, there's a couple other, you have Vanderhagen and stuff. Vanderhagen's actually, a lot of people hate that soap, or a lot of people don't like the smell of it. I love Vanderhagen, and I'm really sad that they actually don't make the basic one anymore. They have different types now. I was looking forward to get a puck of it recently, just try it, because that was one of my first shaving soaps. I remember buying it at Walmart, and I remember grocery stores used to carry it too. Now nobody really does carry anything around that line. But these are great soaps. They can save you a few bucks, and they last a long time. That Razorock puck will last you probably a couple of months, right? Easily. When, a $7 thing of canned goo might last you a few weeks, one of those soaps might last you 2 or 3 months if you're just using one soap and one aftershave, which I honestly wish I did. I mean, honestly, I think at this point, when you have so much selection, it's hard to pick a soap. And don't get me wrong, I don't have the largest soap collection in the world. I had a very large soap collection at one point. I used to, buy lots of used soap online. Like one time I bought a lot. It was had 30 soaps in it, just to try scents and stuff like that. Now I'm pretty much, hey, I like to use 1 or 2 items here and there. But, there's a huge variety that you just can't get through the whole rotation. So a lot of guys out there have 100, 200 soaps. That's great. But it makes it hard to actually enjoy and use them on a daily basis, right? And really get to know them. But if you're into one soap, one aftershave, and you want to have some value, any one of these producers are going to be perfect for you. All right, moving along. The Modern Guide to Straight Razor Shaving, which is my actual book that I wrote and had it published last year. You guys have known about it. I've talked about it. Is now available at Pasteur's Pharmacy in New York City. I talked to Leon over there. I was able to get the book into the store and online. So if you guys are looking in the area, if you're in there, check it out and look at it on the shelf. I'd love to see some pictures of people holding up the book and seeing if something that you're in the area, if you want to purchase it. It is the same price as it is on Amazon. And I've recently opened it up for distribution, so it's going to be available in Barnes & Noble and thriftbooks.com very soon as well, if not already by now. But, one thing about this is really being a wet shaver for about, 13, 14 years now. I remember Pasteur Pharmacy being one of the only places that had everything, right? The first time I went to Pasteur's, I think was in 2015, and they had tons of stuff, and it was like, I had so much fun in there. I went with my wife, and, it was, I call it BK, which means before kids. We weren't even... Right around that time, I think we just got married, or we were almost, 2015 we got married. So it was around the time we got married, newlyweds, and we took one of our first trips to New York City, and we went to Pasteur's, and I just went, I bought a few items there and had a great time looking at it, talked to a bunch of people. And then I went back a couple years later, and I just recently went back. I was in New York City, but I didn't get a chance to go to Pasteur's because I was with a lot of family a few months ago. So really, it's a big deal because this is a wet shaving mecca. I remember seeing on the shelves, all the soaps from all the producers and all the stuff I read about. I remember when I went about 8 or 9 years ago now, when I went back in 2015, it was fine accoutrements, the American shave soap, and the aftershave, and it was like so big back then. Everybody wanted it, and they had the aftershave there, and I got to smell it, and that kind of brought it to me. And I saw a lot of limited edition items. I saw some Holy Black stuff there the last time I went, in the window. It's just really cool, and for me to have a product there, it's a big deal. So I'm really excited to have it there, and for you guys to go check it out if you want to see it and hold it and feel it instead of seeing it online. And if you're in town, guys, send me a picture. I'll definitely put it in the show and mention you in the show. Looking forward to seeing it when I go back, and hopefully I'll be going back in December for a few days. So hopefully be able to see it there and get to meet some guys over there as well, some wet shavers. I know every time I go, I meet somebody cool. So it's a great trip. Murray Carter shuts down his e-commerce site. And this kind of was like this. Hearing about this wasn't really, I guess, the big deal because he's still producing his products, right? So Murray Carter is a Japanese a knife maker, swordsmith, metal guy, whatever you want to call it. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the names, but he was trained in Japan. He knows a lot of the ancient methods, and he also was the guy back in the day, back in 2016, 2015, that was shaving with a spoon, shaving with weird stuff that he would sharpen and get it to where he can actually shave with it. So he was like eating cereal with a spoon, and then he would shave his face with it. He also had some controversial honing methods for razors, and got him into a little bit of like a couple of online, I guess, altercations, we want to say it, with him and a couple of wet shavers back then. But he was also my first and one of the only interviews I've done to date. So I saw him shaving with a spoon. I contacted him, got to talk to him for a few days. He was a really cool guy. And we did an interview, and it was back on when the show was Wet Shaving News, and Andrew was the host, and I was the co-host. So this was about, this is going on 9 years ago, like I mentioned it. And it's just when I saw this, it kind of brought back memories. So I really wanted to mention it to you guys. If you are new to the podcast, or only been listening for a few years, this goes way back in the history, way back down memory lane. So I left a link to the show notes to the interview that's still available on Sharpologist. So if you want to listen to it and see, I guess, how much I've changed over the years, or see how this guy would shave with a spoon and get some more information, it is pretty cool. And just to let you guys know, Murray Carter is not going out of business. He is just going to sell his stuff through other sites and distributors instead. He's not going to run his own direct e-commerce. He travels a lot. He goes to Japan a lot, and I guess he's just figuring that it's easier just to have somebody else sell it for him. So Check out the show notes and the link to the previous interview from back in 2016 with Murray Carter. And as mentioned before, guys, a really popular fall soap. One of the most intense fall scented soaps I've ever tried in aftershaves is Darkfall by Declaration Grooming. This is one of the first fall scents I've ever tried, and the scent is it's pretty intense. So it's really designed to be like burning leaves on a fall day. So it's got like a lot of burn smell to it, but it's also got some cloves, some cinnamon, some like kind of like a little fall like cocktail type essence to it as well. Performance has always been really good. I believe he still uses the milk steak base, and it's also available with an aftershave as well. So this soap has been around for several years. It was one of the first fall ones that I've tried. It was very intense smell, and it is a very fall scented soap. So I mean, if you're looking for something fall, this is it. It's got that moldy, musky, burning leaves with cinnamon, top clove, and all that scents as well, which really makes it really fall. So it definitely represents fall well, and it's a great soap. Now, if also Declaration Grooming, they've been around for a while, but the one thing that they also do is they were one of the first guys out there that produced hand-tied knots in a handle to order and offered a knotting service, not by just gluing a knot that was purchased from China. This guy actually does it himself and makes sure that he gets it right. So he's been hand-tying knots for years. They are still available. I'm looking at the site right now. He still has his brushes available. They are very expensive. I mean, you're looking around $400 to get one of the special order brushes. I guess he's still doing pre-order. He's doing pre-orders now instead of just launches, but sometimes he launches stuff as well. But if you get a brush like this, guys, it is a brush you're going to have for life. And I have one, but I got it way before it was this expensive. I mean, I think the brush I bought was his B3 knot, and I got it for about $180 back when I think it was 2016, 2017. I still have it. Still doesn't shed a hair. It's really good. Very stretchy knot, but it's good. He offers knotting service for about $150 and pre-orders as well. So, I mean, that's kind of what this company's known for, but they also make some great soaps, and Darkfall really does bring back some memories for me. And don't forget, guys, the fall seasonal special is coming out. This is the one where we do all of the fall scents from all the vendors. So if you're a vendor and you have something new that you want to launch, let me know. I will definitely mention it on the show. For those of you new to the podcast, this is the biggest show of the year. It's the most work that I put in for any show. It takes roughly around 20 to 40 hours of research and writing. And this year we have a special section of the cast that will feature past fall items that made a true impact, or the Fall Hall of Fame, to say the least. These are items that are retired, that made a huge impact, that were big time in the wet shaving world in the last 10 years. So previous shows, I have them all listed from 2016 to 2023, and that will be on the 28th of October. So working on it right now. If you have anything else you want to talk about it, and if you know anybody that has anything coming out, definitely let me know as well. Next show will be on the 7th of October, so we'll be getting closer and closer. So I'll be getting a little bit more, and then I usually skip a show in between, and then just to get the work done, and then I'll bring it on the 28th. So that's when this show will be on. It'll be on the 28th of October, right before Halloween. All right, guys. So that concludes the podcast for this week. Thank you all for coming and listening, and I appreciate the patience having with me. I was a little late this week, so I apologize for that. Remember, our show is powered by Sharpologist.com. What your father didn't teach you about shaving. Special thanks to Mark Mantic59 for everything that he does in the wet shaving community, and of course, most of all, you guys, the listeners. Don't forget to check out my blog, shavestraightandsafe.com, and always feel free to contact me at joe.wetshavingnews@gmail.com. Check out my YouTube channel with new stuff coming out actually very soon. Working on some content right now. And if you're interested in sponsoring an episode, let me know. I'm sorry, I kind of lost track over there. Our next show will be on the 7th of October. Until then, shave straight and shave safe. Don't forget to check out the book at The Modern Guide to Straight Razor Shaving on Amazon, and now available at Pasteur's Pharmacy in New York City. Until then, guys, shave straight and shave safe. Bye-bye now.